Welcome to Reds Focus LFC fans. Today we bring you the top 4 breaking Liverpool news headlines.
Liverpool fans, big news. Mohamed Salah suffers a fresh blow. £35 million replacement spotted, and Antoine Semenyo's Afcon snub explained. Plus, Harvey Elliott's potential January return, and the latest on Liverpool's 2025 summer transfer chaos. Stay tuned, hit subscribe, and never miss the latest Reds updates. Liverpool news. Mohamed Salah suffers fresh blow as £35 million rated replacement identified. Liverpool star Mo Salah has had a rough start since joining up with Egypt for the Africa Cup of Nations, while Arne Slot has been told to address his forward line. Liverpool are back in action against Tottenham Hotspur this Saturday as they bid to keep their recent run of form going. Arne Slot has battled back after a dreadful spell that left the Dutchman facing questions over his job, while an explosive fallout with Mo Salah has also plagued Liverpool boss. A 3-3 draw away to Leeds was followed by a 1-0 win over Inter Milan in the Champions League before a 2-0 victory over Brighton last weekend at Anfield. After 16 games played, the reigning champions are currently in 7th place with 26 points. Slot's Salah situation also looking to be resolved for now, as Slot and the player held talks. Liverpool are now just 2 points off the top 4, with Chelsea occupying the coveted spot. Today's news sees Salah suffer a new blow while away with Egypt at the Africa Cup of Nations, while the Reds have been urged to bring back an option for his front line should Salah leave in January or the summer. Mirror Football takes a look at the latest news coming out of Anfield. Salah hit with fresh blow. Egypt may have beaten Nigeria 2-1 in their only warm-up friendly before the Africa Cup of Nations, but they had to do so without star player Salah. The 33-year-old linked up with his international teammates ahead of the 2025-26 edition of AFCON in Morocco, where he'll captain the Pharaohs. Yet, the Liverpool hero was left out of their matchday squad on Tuesday by manager Hossam Hassan, despite Salah failing to start any of Liverpool's last 5 games. Salah returned to the Reds squad at the weekend and played most of their 2-0 win, where he bagged an assist, despite being named on the bench once again. Mahmoud Saber and Mustafa Mohamed scored the goals for the hosts in Cairo, ensuring that they won their only warm-up friendly before starting their AFCON campaign next Monday. Egypt were drawn in a group alongside Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Angola. Slot urged to bring back Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott left Liverpool to join Villa on a season-long loan on transfer deadline day, but the move has turned into a disaster for the midfielder. The Liverpool loanee has not featured since making a brief substitute appearance against Feyenoord in the Europa League on October 2nd. Villa would have to stump up £35 million to sign the England star if he reaches 10 Premier League appearances, but Emery opened the door for his exit, saying, "He is on loan playing with us, but he is not definitely adding to us with a permanent contract." Former Liverpool and Everton star Don Hutchinson has now urged Slot to bring the 2-time Premier League winner back in from the cold. Elliott can play as a winger or attacking midfielder and could make a play to replace Salah should the winger choose to pursue a move away from Anfield in the near future or struggle to get back in the starting 11. If you're Liverpool, you're probably best off bringing him back and keeping him in the squad, Hutchinson told Oddsboom. They only had a short number on the bench at the weekend, and probably that's why Mo Salah was a little fortunate that he made the bench, because, Gakpo was injured, Wataru Endo was injured, and Connor Bradley was suspended. So I think it'll be a good move from Liverpool to bring him back. Why Liverpool target Antoine Semenyo is not playing at AFCON amid transfer battle. Bournemouth star Antoine Semenyo has enjoyed a fantastic start to the 2025-26 season and has attracted interest from a host of the Premier League's top sides, including Liverpool. Liverpool fans will be keeping an eye on the fortunes of their star winger during the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON, as Mohamed Salah hopes to lead Egypt to its first piece of silverware since 2010. But Reds will also be watching the movements of another wide attacker in January who could have been involved in the tournament. London-born Antoine Semenyo declared for Ghana in 2022 and has been a regular for the Black Stars since, earning 32 caps. He played in Ghana's disastrous AFCON qualification group, which ended with one of Africa's most successful soccer nations failing to win a single match. As a result, it will not be involved in the competition, which begins in Morocco this weekend. That means Semenyo will be based in England for the entirety of January. That could prove beneficial for the Bournemouth Stars' chances of sealing a mid-season transfer. Liverpool is among the sides monitoring the 25-year-old, who reportedly has a £65 million or $87 million release clause in his contract. TalkSport claimed this week that Semenyo is calm about his future, with Manchester City, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, and Arsenal also keen on the Ghanaian international. The winger signed a new contract in the summer after Bournemouth allowed several key players to depart, and he has continued his excellent form this season. Semenyo has scored 7 goals and provided 3 assists in the Premier League so far, but managed 9 goal contributions in the first 7 matches of the campaign. The former Bristol City man was on target again in Monday's chaotic 4-4 draw at Old Trafford, ending a run of 6 appearances without a goal. Liverpool was linked with a move for Semenyo last summer, but a deal never looked close. His potential January arrival would help solve Arne Slot's selection issues on the right wing, with Dominik Szoboszlai regularly deployed in that role over recent weeks. With the Liverpool number 8 an injury doubt for this weekend's game against Tottenham Hotspur, Salah at AFCON, and Federico Chiesa still not trusted to start Premier League games, it's an area of the team that is becoming increasingly problematic. Meanwhile, despite Ghana's inability to secure qualification for AFCON, it will be involved in next summer's World Cup and has been drawn in a group alongside England, Croatia, and Panama. What must happen for Harvey Elliott to return to Liverpool in January? Harvey Elliott's loan to Aston Villa hasn't panned out as anyone expected, and he clearly has no long-term future at Villa Park. That will have ramifications next summer, but in the short term, it may provide Liverpool with an unlikely opportunity. What Arne Slot would give to have Harvey Elliott available this weekend? That's a remarkable statement in many senses, not least because the 22-year-old is a Liverpool player, but instead of being an option for Slot to call upon at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday, Elliott will instead be twiddling his thumbs at home. That is not what Liverpool, Aston Villa, or Elliott envisioned when he departed for the Midlands on deadline day to complete a loan move, which included an obligation to make the deal permanent next summer for $35 million, $47 million. Yet there's now little expectation of that happening. Unai Emery's reluctance to select Elliott has left the Liverpool loanee in no man's land. He has played just 5 times for Villa, the last of which came on October 2nd. We are speaking with him and about his situation. He is not here with us, Emery explained last week ahead of Villa's Europa League clash against Basel. Hopefully, we can get the best for him and the best for us. I respect him as a player and as a person. He is training well, but we have one circumstance with him. Hopefully, we can get a solution for him to try to play consistently and try to continue in his career with us or not. I have spoken with him 2 or 3 times about the situation we have with him, he added. Firstly, my decision and also the situation. He is on loan playing with us, but he is not definitely adding to us with a permanent contract. Evidently, there's little desire on Villa's part to trigger the terms that will make the transfer permanent. Reports have indicated that he needs to play 10 league games for that to materialize, although Liverpool.com understands that is not the case. The obvious solution would be for Elliott to depart Villa and join another club on loan. There was no shortage of interest in Premier League interest in the midfielder last summer. However, FIFA's rules stipulate that he cannot represent 3 European sides in one season, and having made 2 appearances for Liverpool in the early weeks of the campaign, that rules out a January relocation. As the winter window approaches, the solution is simple. Elliott either remains at Villa or heads back to Liverpool. Clearly, the villains won't stand in the player's way if he wishes to return to his parent club, but complicating matters is the lack of a release clause inserted into the loan arrangement, which is customary in the majority of season-long deals. Then again, nobody expected Elliott to return to Anfield. He certainly didn't, as evidenced by his emotional social media farewell post. Liverpool.com understands that for Elliott's loan at Villa to be cut short, new terms would have to be negotiated with Liverpool. Likely, that would involve Villa paying a small fee, given the side currently sitting third in the Premier League table would no longer be burdened with Elliott's wages. That said, a Liverpool return appears to be in everyone's best interests. Villa would be free of that transfer obligation, Elliott would likely play more minutes on Merseyside, and Slot would have an extra player to call upon for the remainder of the campaign. The last point may be most salient. The Liverpool head coach bemoaned the number of absentees last week and claimed he had only 13 outfield players with Premier League experience to call upon. The Dutchman is in desperate need of additional attacking options. While Slot was reluctant to start Elliott in high-profile games last season, he did regularly introduce the former Fulham man from the bench. Elliott made 28 appearances for Liverpool in the 2024-25 campaign, despite missing over 2 months with a foot injury. He also played a significant role when introduced as a substitute against Lille, Paris Saint-Germain, Southampton, and in the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle United. That Liverpool included a buyback clause in the move to Villa is another indication of how well regarded the diminutive left-footer is at the AXA training center. His services would certainly be appreciated Saturday as Liverpool travels to Spurs without an obvious right winger. Salah is in Morocco, Dominic Szoboszlai is a doubt, Jeremy Frimpong is ruled out, and Slot remains unconvinced by Federico Chiesa. Elliott won't be the solution this weekend, but his contribution in the second half of the campaign could prove invaluable. Liverpool's 2025 summer transfer window stole its soul, made the Reds like Chelsea. Liverpool spent an ungodly amount of cash in 2025 in a departure from Michael Edwards' previous strategy, and the results have left the club now out of spending money. The 2025 summer transfer window saw Liverpool spend an eye-watering €482.90 million, or $645 million, on the likes of Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, and others. This is Chelsea-like behavior. The Reds had never topped €200 million in a single year, summer and winter windows combined, and when they came closest, in 2018, it was due to the sale of Felipe Coutinho to Barcelona. Liverpool's 2025-26 transfer window was an overcorrection to the FSG out brigade. It's a departure from the prudence and careful guardrails that the former sporting director turned FSG CEO spent so much time gently developing. More importantly, it has stolen the club's soul. Edwards arrived at Liverpool in 2011 as the head of analytics before being elevated to the role of sporting director in 2016. His promotion marked the end of short-sighted transfers, 2014, Ricky Lambert and Mario Balotelli, and clarified that the Reds would always prioritize the long view. If Liverpool spent big in one window, they would save in the next. Edwards was the master at drumming up fees for players on the periphery of his team. Think Jordan Ibe, Dominic Solanke, Danny Ward, and others. Every sale seemed like a puzzle piece for a bigger move, with the most obvious example being Coutinho's January 2018 sale, which raised funds for Virgil van Dijk and Alisson Becker. This came after a masterful 12-month saga of slowly hiking up Coutinho's transfer value, signing him to a new contract, letting him get off to a big start to the season, and waiting for Barcelona to become desperate. The £105 million initial payment, plus £36 million in add-ons, could have been half that had Edwards acted rashly. In 2025, Edwards and his team acted rashly. Sure, it's hard to say his team could have gotten much more than the fees he recouped for Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and Gerald Quansah. The move for Isak, after Liverpool already signed talented French striker Hugo Ekitike, signaled the departure from the Reds' previous transfer strategy. Would this move have been made before? You could argue that Ryan Gravenberch was a signing at excess. Liverpool already signed Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Wataru Endo in a complete remake of the midfield. Except, Gravenberch cost €40 million. Isak cost more than 3 times that. It's one thing to make a low-cost gamble, it's another thing to do it multiple times in the same window. The 2025 Summer Reds transfer window marked a departure from the prudence most Liverpool fans came to expect from the club. It made the club Chelsea a cesspit of rash decisions and constant churn.
Antoine Semenyo transfer prediction made as Liverpool get timeline for deal completion. Antoine Semenyo has been in fine form for Bournemouth this season, with Liverpool and Manchester United reportedly interested. Former Liverpool and Manchester United striker Paul Ince has urged Antoine Semenyo to wait until the summer transfer window rather than making a January switch away from Bournemouth. Ince believes that a Premier League top 4 finish will decide which of his ex-clubs emerges victorious in the tussle for the winger's signature. Semenyo, 25, has been an instrumental figure under Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola, bagging 18 goals and providing 8 assists in the top flight since the start of the 2024-25 campaign. His impressive form has led to intense speculation about the possibility of a move away during the January transfer window, with a reported $65 million release clause in place and Liverpool among a host of clubs supposedly monitoring his situation. But the player has been urged to pause and consider his options carefully before rushing into any mid-season move, reports the Liverpool Echo. I was surprised that Liverpool or Manchester United didn't sign Antoine Semenyo at the start of the season because he's a top player, Ince told Covers.com. He should wait until the summer transfer window to make a move. January isn't a great time to move, and clubs often don't like parting with players midway through a season. I don't see him staying put beyond the summer, though. Bournemouth are great at sourcing players from all over the world, but ultimately they've always been a selling club. He'll have plenty of options on the table. He's got all the attributes to improve even more, too. He's great on both feet, strong, quick, and can bag you plenty of goals, as we've seen so far this year. Liverpool currently occupy 7th spot in the Premier League standings. Speculation linking them with Semenyo emerges whilst Mohamed Salah's future at Anfield beyond January remains uncertain, with Cody Gakpo's recent injury adding to the Reds' woes in the wide forward department. Arne Slot's side share the same points tally as 6th-placed arch-rivals Manchester United, who began the campaign hoping to secure European football under manager Ruben Amorim's first full term at the helm. The Old Trafford outfit have also been linked with a move for Semenyo. Ince believes whichever club can guarantee the Ghana International Champions League action next term will triumph in the transfer race. In terms of whether he'll move to Liverpool or Man U, it depends on which one will finish in the top 4 and have Champions League to look forward to next season, Ince added. If I were in his position, I'd stay put for now at Bournemouth until the end of the season and see which one of those teams finishes in the top 4. Meanwhile, Iraola has provided insight into how Semenyo has handled the transfer talk surrounding his future. Obviously, when you hear your name every day in the news, you have to deal with these situations, said Iraola. But I think he's committed, and I haven't seen a lot of changes in him.